All right, you guys, we're starting a little bit early today just because I've got the guys to come look at the driveway today. They're going to be here in about an hour. So thought we'd get started early. Good morning. Good morning. I have a few surprises for you today. I believe we've solved the rabbit in the classroom in iPad Go 2, which I believe predicted the Trump in vitro fertilization surge. And then after that, we're going to look at a re-upload that kind of links into all this, in which we predicted Trump's mRNA AI cancer cure, except it was a year before it happened. They were already leaking information about an mRNA cancer cure. So we're going to replay that video, but let's start first with this story on Ghislaine Maxwell. I wasn't going to do any headlines today. I was going to save that for tomorrow, but this is important. Basically, they're saying that she is now eligible for work release. Now, she hasn't done work release yet, but she's eligible for it just by the nature of how her status was downgraded from a serious offender to something much less. It now qualifies her for work release. So this is at the top of the news right now. And the whole point to all this is that this was the deal that Epstein was given. And the first time they went after him, he was given this work release deal, which essentially is a cover story for really letting them out of prison. It's basically what it is. It's almost like probation. You spend more time out on quote unquote work assignments than you do actually in jail. I believe it was to the point where Epstein was only literally just sleeping there. And during the day, he was able to go about and do whatever he wanted. He just had to check in to go to sleep, essentially. So this is what's going on. And this is a huge cover up. This is the way that they can pseudo pardon her without bringing up all this down onto Trump. I believe this is why Trump has pivoted to the militarization of DC. We'll talk about that more tomorrow. American citizens are now being detained and arrested. We said this was going to happen, and it's happening right now. But we'll cover that tomorrow. I don't want to dive too deep into that, but let's get into this. Let me check in with you guys, and we'll get into this iPet Goat 2 thing. Now, yesterday we were talking about rabbits, weren't we? And a couple of you, because you guys are so smart, you're like, Casey, rabbits have 2 uteruses. And I was like, what? And sure enough, I looked it up. They don't actually have 2 uteruses. They have a bifurcated uterus, which means it's split in half. They have twin uterine, what they call horns or trumpets. They're not called trumpets. They're called horns, but this is pretty crazy. Now, we all remember, here's the rabbit uterus. They call them horns. Let me go back to this over here. Schematic of rabbit bicornate uterus. This is why they are so proliferative in reproducing. And here's the scene that I believe was finally revealed. The true meaning of this scene. We all remember this scene from iPad Go 2, the animated film from 2012. And we couldn't quite figure out what this rabbit was. Remember? And we did some decodes early on. And we looked at rabbit farms and things like this. But this rabbit has a tag on its ear. And if you haven't heard recently, there's been a lot going on with genetics and Trump. The blue jeans ad, that was no mistake. The very definition of in vitro fertilization is selective genes. This was the concern all along, that people could literally select a blue-eyed, blonde-haired baby if they wanted. Selective genes, which could lead to a form of eugenics. And this is what Trump has been pushing offering to give away free services for people who want to use IVF, government sponsored IVF, government sponsored eugenics. And so, what have they done? They've positioned the people who oppose this whole blue jeans ad, they've positioned them on the left so that everyone just laughs, mocks, and scoffs. In some of these interviews that I saw about them arguing about this blue jeans ad, they completely missed the point. They don't bring up Trump's IVF at all in these arguments. This is done by design. They completely ignore it, even though it ties in directly to where all this is headed. Selective breeding. Rabbits. Selective breeding. Now, this whole scene is full of IVF, twinning, eugenics. It's full, you guys. I'm going to break all this down for you. Now, first of all, let's start with the rabbits. Rabbits are for breeding. And this rabbit has the tag on the ear, as I just showed you. And I looked it up, and this is the right ear of the rabbit. And according to this, the right ear is the ear that's tagged for identification. Identification and record keeping. The tags are usually placed in the rabbit's ear, often the left ear for personal tattoos and the right ear for registration tattoos. The plot thickens, doesn't it? Now, in order for this to work, this interpretation, the double uteruses or the bifurcated uteruses, uteri, I guess they call it technically, there has to be other clues in this scene, doesn't there? Well, upon closer inspection, looking at all these figures, this scene is symmetrical. For those with eyes to see, it's not only symmetrical, these appear almost as homunculuses. Genetic material with no soul. Fashioned out of clay. Let's find the twinning going on. Now understand that IVF yields a lot of twins. See how all this is coming together now? We've got twins here. These are conjoined twins. We've got this pair in the back. Twins. We've got above with the hands up near the chin, and we've got below with the hands between the knees. They form a pair. Then we have these two sitting on the ground. They form a pair. These two form a pair on the end. Hands in lap, hands on knees. Wow, this is all about IVF. Reproductive rabbits with an identification ear tag. Twins all the way through. The apple represents genetics as well. Reproduction, the fruit of the womb, as the Bible says, being held near her womb. Now, I'm going to blow your mind right now because way back in 2016, we uploaded this video about symmetry. Remember, this scene is symmetrical, as I just showed you. It's twinned. And way back in 2015, on the 88th day of the year, CERN launched a festival called Cineglobe. Now, March 29th just so happens to be my birthday. I was born on the 88th day of the year, and they basically slated this festival to be for ages 8 to 88. Now, there's a little bit more to this. I'm going to play part of this because there's an aspect to this called symmetry. That was the whole thing. And I showed you in this video. We're probably actually not going to play it. What I'll do is I'll link this. In the video, you will all remember that there was a circle with a dark figure inside holding a white figure, and then one goes outside the circle. I'm trying to see if I have a screenshot of this. I guess this is the best we're going to get here. They're standing in a circle. Actually, what we'll do, this is an opera. Man, it's not showing in here. Okay. Whoops, that's probably the best we're going to get, like right at the end. Here it is. There's a circle around these figures. Now, there's a wide shot of this. Let's see if we can find it. 2015 CERN Festival Symmetry. It's an opera. Let's see if we can find it. So let's just go straight to the source. Here it is. Now, you all remember this. Now, I'm going to link all this back into the DNA and genetics, but look at this. There's a dance, the icy landscape, a dark figure, a light figure. And compare that to this golden circle and the checkerboard floors, the dark against the light. This golden splatter outside the circle. Well, the same thing happens here. One dances outside the circle. This is the twinning that I've been trying to show you guys for now a decade when this original decode released. This is the goal. It's all about pairing you with the dark side. See if we can find the image of one outside the circle and one inside the circle. I don't want to play the opera because they'll copyright it, but it absolutely shows that. So let's get back on track here. This is insane. I'll put a link to this for those that want to watch this. From 2016, 9 years ago, we decoded this. Now, genetics, DNA, twinning, selective breeding, it's all there. Now, of course, this is also the scene from Ukraine. This is the Ukraine monument. As well, we decoded this at Holodomor. Because there's also a girl with an apple and roses in a dress that looks exactly like this, standing on top of a circle or sitting on a circle. And it's a monument in the Ukraine, in Kiev. And this was about the Holodomor Holocaust, which suggests that there could have been a breeding program going on. The Holocaust happened in, I believe, 1933. This would have been right around the time where a lot of this might have been going on. They even have the exit door ajar. Hold the door. Holodomor. So, crazy connections, right? We also know that Zelensky is harboring Yahtzees. So a breeding program isn't that far of a stretch as the plot still thickens. And then something else hit me just minutes before the show. Let me check in with you guys, because now I'm starting to wonder about this big balls connection. Remember, the other day we found that the very first reference we could ever find to big balls was that of a Nazi band, a punk band. They were named in 1975 before the AC/DC Big Balls song came out, so it was already established that it was a Nazi archetype. And then it hit me. What if Big Balls really represents the genetic material being held in the testicles? I'm just going to come right out and say it. What if that's what this is really all about? And now they're literally talking about giving Big Balls a presidential Medal of Freedom for getting mugged in DC and basically opening up the floodgates for the militarization of every single city in America. I hope you guys have been paying attention over the last 24 hours. This has been the threat from our president that he will go into every single major city with the military and free us of crime and homelessness. We'll get into that tomorrow. They are literally rounding up the homeless as we speak, including our beloved veterans who are homeless. Are you awake yet? I hope you are. Now, what I'm going to show you next ties into all this as well, this upload from last year, in which we exposed this push for an mRNA cancer cure. Remember this? This was long before Trump was reelected. And yet, earlier this year, after his second term, he paraded out the billionaires who claimed that they were just on the cusp of an mRNA cancer cure using artificial intelligence. So let's watch this re-upload and see how accurate we actually were about this. Remember, this is all about genetics. They're trying to birth something in. Let's get started. Welcome back to the channel. And we're going to try something a little bit new on the channel. We're going to try to break the internet. What do I mean? Well, while I've got you guys all here, I'm going to take the opportunity to post my Twitter X page. It's got you're on Twitter, because we're going to try something a little bit different. I'm going to post a link, mobile phones, or wherever you're on right now. Now, of course, nothing we try to do ever takes this channel to more than 2 or 3 likes. We are absolutely being shadow banned. Even when I make an announcement in front of 1,000 people or 200 people watching, for some reason, the channel has been stuck. We all know why, but let's go ahead and play this out, you guys. This is crazy. Now, go on there, follow me. What I'm going to be doing, and I'll explain, we put out great daily content anymore. Okay, that the content is not going to, now you're going to hear me skipping through. That's not your internet or buffering. That's me skipping through to get to the meat of this upload to help the channel grow. Like this. Look, I've heard all of these things and more accurate. So it makes absolutely no sense. And send them out. If it's crazy, you guys. British scientists have just announced the I Am Legend scenario. When did they announce it? Here it is here. We're going to actually play it from Twitter X, interestingly. Now, this was copied and put up on some other social media platforms. We're going to watch it off of Twitter X here. I'm going to play this for you. And they announced this on the 117th day of the year, 17 years after I Am Legend released, with 17 days left in the year in 2007. I'm going to say that all again, because I know that was a lot of 17s. I Am Legend, actually, the announcement about this new cancer cure happened on the 117th day of the year, just a couple days ago, 17 years after I Am Legend released, with 17 days left in the year in 2007. Now I'm interrupting myself because obviously 17 is Q. Nobody knew that Trump would get reelected when we uploaded this upload, but it seems to all point forward right back to him. 17 Q. Watch. A lot of 17s, isn't it? We do know that Q is the 17th letter of the alphabet, and I believe that this fits into all this on some level. It's the magic that has people asleep to the right-left paradigm. And this is crazy. Now, there are at least a few people that can't handle the truth, which promises to set us free, doesn't it? No matter how dark the truth is. And as we speak, as we sit right now, there are tens of millions of Christian brothers and sisters that are deceived and will give their vow on election day to a man that is about as close to the devil as I've seen in any president since Obama. And yet, some still kill the messenger instead of hearing the message. I'll keep going for as long as God tells me, no matter how shocking this information is that he wants revealed. And if you think it's dark and negative, then wait until you see what's coming. And at a certain point, we become enablers, don't we? When we give our consent to the evil around us, when we give our trust to billionaires, we become part of the problem. Whoa, trust to billionaires? We didn't even know Trump was going to parade out 13 billionaires just days after he was reelected. But here we foreshadowed it. Let's keep watching. I'm going to play this clip, the real life clip, and then I'm going to play what's in the movie. And then we'll talk about what all this means. A real cancer cure. Here we go. It's shocking.
I mean, it's very early.
So what is this as big as it sounds?
I think it potentially is. I mean, it's very early days. So basically, they've discovered that if they use the same technology that they use for COVID, and they use some mRNA, which is a messenger part of DNA, they take your particular cancer, they biopsy it, they take some of the protein on your cancer, and they put it back into your cells.
And that's going to do it for us from the Sports Desk right now. Back to you guys in the studio. Thanks, Dave. Thanks for nothing.
Now, this is from I Am Legend, and listen to this. Now, you've got to listen closely, and I am going to pause this intermittently for copyright. Let's keep watching here.
That's not all we're following. Here's Karen at the help desk.
The world of medicine has seen its share of miracle cures.
The world of medicine has seen its share of miracle cures. Now, again, this is from I Am Legend 17 years ago.
From the polio vaccine to heart transplants, but all past achievements may pale in comparison to the work of Dr. Alice Crippen.
This is Alice Crippen. This is the real life doctor, both in polka dots. We're going to talk about the significance of that as well. They're literally recreating this in a ritual. About the significance of that as well. Whoa. Crippen. Kreppen. You could spell Crippen out of her name. Crippen. Whoa. Okay, let's keep watching. Well, they're literally recreating this in a ritual. These women even have birthdays that are just days apart. We'll get into that as well today. Dr. Renee Honderkamp announced on the 117th day of the year, 17 days after I Am Legend released, with 17 days left in the year in 2007.
And they tell your cells to make that protein. The idea is that your body then makes antibodies against it.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Not at all.
So, Dr. Crippen, give it to me in a nutshell.
Well, the premise is quite simple. Take something.
Now, we got to be careful here because I know they're very sensitive to this particular scene from I Am Legend, so I'm going to be pausing this, and I'm very sorry that I have to keep interrupting her. But listen to what she says next.
Designed by nature and reprogram it to make it work for the body rather than
reprogram it to make it work for the body.
It gets the memory cells, the T cells, the ones we heard about lots in COVID. And so then, after you've been treated for your cancer, if any of those cells are still floating around or if any of them start to come back and multiply, your own immune system will recognise them from that vaccine and kill it.
Against it.
You're talking about a virus.
Indeed, yes, in this case, the measles virus, which has been engineered at a genetic level to be helpful rather than.
Now, melanoma is a hideous cancer, and if you get recurrence from any cancer, really, but especially from melanoma, you're going to die. You know, it's going to kill you. It's not nice. So to have something that might stop that happening, I think is game-changing.
Look at the person interviewing her.
Than harmful. And I find the best way to describe it is if you can imagine your body as a highway and you picture the virus as a very fast car.
The body is a highway.
The T cells, the ones they take some of the protein on your cancer and they put it back into your cells, and they tell your cells to make that protein.
Being driven by a very bad man, imagine the damage that car could cause. But then if you replace that man with a cop, the
copper, the cop, the blue blood, the blue genes. What the heck? Notice also the black-white juxtaposition, the white woman, the black woman, the black blouse with the white polka dots. It all goes back to symmetry. Let's keep watching.
The idea is and they use some mRNA, which is a messenger part of DNA. They take your particular cancer, they biopsy it, they take some of the protein on your cancer and they put it back into your cells, and they tell you...
Putting the cop back into the car. What the...
Your cells to make that protein. The idea is that your body then makes antibodies against it, 0% or 1%. So, you know, I think that's really, really encouraging. I think there are a couple of things that we're going to need to know as time goes forward. I want to know that the mRNA technology is completely safe. And I think that we need some more long-term data, which will obviously come with these studies, to know that interfering with the DNA and RNA in our cells is actually potentially
But we did it with COVID.
We did, and there are oncologists now calling for it to be stopped, the mRNA technology. So there is still debate around that. And I think it's good. We need debate, but we need open debate where we really can look.
changes, and that's essentially what we've done.
How many people have you treated so far?
Well, we've had 10,009 clinical trials in humans.
10,009 clinical trials.
So far.
And how many are cancer-free?
10,009.
Cured cancer.
So you have actually cured cancer?
Yes, yes. Yes, we have.
The other thing is going to be cost, Nana. So we're looking with this particular vaccine at £400,000 per patient.
But surely the treatment of somebody who has melanoma and all the things that go with it is far more expensive than that. And then the cancer could return, so then you're going to be paying again.
Yeah, so this isn't going to stop the cancer in the first place. But this is after.
But once you've had it, then you can use this technology to stop it. Yeah. So you'll still have to have all the treatments to get rid of it initially.
You will. Right. And then this will hopefully stop recurrence. Because otherwise you'd have to inject everybody in case they ever got it, and you wouldn't have any sample proteins.
Well, you wouldn't have initial DNA. Yeah. You need to do it.
So you've got to have the cancer to start with. But, you know, NICE guidance, which guides our money and how much we spend, puts about £30,000 on every life, quality of life year saved. So whether or not this will fall into it, whether the price will come down as the research goes ahead. But certainly, I said to you in the break, we are going to have some very open and honest conversations with people and say, look, this is your NHS, this is the pot of money. Do you want to do this or do you want to do that?
50% cure rate, they're saying.
Hideous cancer. And if you get recurrence from any cancer, really, but especially from melanoma, you're going to die. You know, it's going to kill you. It's not nice. So to have something that might stop that happening, I think is game-changing. I think, it will change the way that we develop many, many cancer treatments. It's very early days. We're years away from seeing this in practice. They've not even recruited patients yet onto the trial. But in mice, it stopped the cancer recurring in 50% of cases. Now, 50% is better than 0% or 1%. So, I think that's really, really encouraging.
So they used measles as a vehicle. Now I'm going to play more from I Am Legend. They used used measles as a vehicle in I Am Legend. She compares it to a cop car, a cop car. Now I'm going to pause myself. Let's see if we can find this Larry Ellison AI mRNA cure. Okay, here we go. Now, remember, this just happened at the beginning of the year, just after Trump was elected. Wait a minute. Is this the guy who Trump gave the key to from Japan? Hold on.
So we're currently working on. Should I step on this? Okay. All right. No. I'm not that tall. I'm not that tall.
Now, remember, his children, his son and daughter own the Terminator movie franchise, which is all about this, isn't it? Remember the eugenic component to Terminator? How they found them all in the lab being cloned, and they found Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Yahtzee with the best genetics, and they used him as the Terminator robot. And then we decoded T4. Terminator 4 was shortened to T4, and that's where they found these people being genetically modified to integrate with the machine. And I showed you the T4 Yahtzee program that was all about extermination. Remember all this, you guys? All of this fits together. Now let's listen to Larry Ellison.
Using the tools, one of the most exciting things we're working on, using the tools that Sam and Masa are providing, is a cancer vaccine. It's very interesting. It turns out, I'll be quick, all of our cancers, cancer tumors, little fragments of those tumors float around in your blood. So you can do early cancer detection. If you can do using AI, you can do early cancer detection with a blood test. And using AI to look at the blood test, you can find the cancers that are actually seriously threatening the person. So we can, again, cancer diagnosis using AI has the promise of just being a simple blood test. Then beyond that, once we gene sequence that cancer tumor, you can then vaccinate the person, design a vaccine for every individual person to vaccinate them against that cancer. And you can make that vaccine, that mRNA vaccine, you can make that robotically, again, using AI in about 48 hours. So imagine early cancer detection, the development of a cancer vaccine for your particular cancer aimed at you, and have that vaccine available in 48 hours. This is the promise of AI and the promise of the future.
Wow. Guys, we are entering the edge of a cliff. Let's keep watching this re-upload. This is insane. Then I'll be back in the chat. Blue blood. Just like they're using an existing cancer as the vehicle in the real world. The vehicle in I Am Legend is later revealed to be the crowned serpent. Watch. Will Smith in the Shelby Cobra. Will Smith in the Shelby Cobra. Watch this. Will Smith pulls into and underneath the crown. Now, we looked at the symbolism of Will Smith, and he is Will Smite. Smite means to poke or to hit. And in I Am Legend, he plays Colonel, which you spell it Corona, Robert Neville the Devil. He chases the deer, which is all of us, in the serpent. And he drives it right underneath the crown. And remember, Will Smith does experiments. He injects the zombies to try to find a quote-unquote cure The cobra is the snake, the blue blood in the red body. This is a hybrid car. Not hybrid technically, but hybrid spiritually. Let's keep watching. Through the portal and under the crown. Let me play that again. Through the portal and under the crown. Under the corona. Now in the movie, and I want to be very specific here because I'm not making any claims about any connection to what's happening right now or in this jab trial that we just opened the show with, but this needs to be talked about. In the movie I Am Legend, this cancer cure ends up causing a zombie apocalypse. And here's where we all need to sit down, because I'm going to show you confirmation. And this is the kind of information that needs to get out to the rest of the truth community. The woman that you just saw in that interview, in real life, her name is Dr. Renee Honderkamp. She was born in 1967 on April 23rd. The woman that you saw in I Am Legend was Emma Thompson, and she was born also in April. Are you ready for this? In 1959, on April 15th. These two women, the one in fiction and nonfiction, were born 8 years and 8 days apart. 8 years and 8 days apart. 88. Now, I told you we would talk about the polka dots of both women and what they're wearing, because essentially what we have here is a ritual. This is a ritual news broadcast. 17 years after I Am Legend, announced on the 117th day of the year, I Am Legend released with 17 days left in the year on December 14th, 2007. What do the polka dots mean? Well, I looked it up because I had to know. Someone actually in the comments left a comment yesterday when we mentioned this, and I confirmed it with this. Polka dots mean plague and poor health. Back then, polka dots in any similar pattern were associated with disease and poor health, likely due to the visual similarities shared with the sores caused by the plague and smallpox. Blown away. So what happened in the movie I Am Legend? Well, 588 million dark seekers. 588 million dark seekers, they called them, fed on what was left of humanity. Now you have to ask yourself, why? Really, what's the real reason why Trump is militarizing the major cities of the United States? Are they anticipating something else? 588 million. There are 58 bedrooms in Mar-a-Lago. There are 58 stories in Trump Tower. Trump would win the 58th presidential quadrennial election 58 years after 1958. And a man named Trump appeared in a 1958 Western episode from the Trackdown TV series, a Western TV series. And in that episode, Trump built a wall. Here's the Trackdown TV series here. Here is the episode. It's called The End of the World. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? There it is. The End of the World is the 30th episode. And in the episode, the man Trump builds a wall and he sells black umbrellas. He sells black umbrellas to save people from the end of the world. The episode aired on the eve of Trump's mother's birthday. May 9th is when it aired. This is Trump's mother's birthday, May 10th, 1912. How old was Trump's mother when this Trackdown episode aired? She was 46 years old, which is the year that Trump was born in 1946, 12 years earlier. And she was 46 years old when the Trackdown episode released in 1958. 588 million dark seekers. Here's the movie script right here. What kind of MAGA magic is this? Well, I don't know, but I'm showing it to you so you can understand what's going on. We're trying to get to the bottom of all this. Now, an I Am Legend sequel is coming out soon. Of course it is. It will likely happen during the next Trump presidency. Here's Will Smith. So I just said right there, the next Trump presidency. We knew he was going to come for a second term because all this that we found had not happened yet. Let's keep watching. Being interviewed, I believe, by Oprah Winfrey about the sequel. This is Entertainment Weekly. This looks like March 4th, 2022. So this was during the pandemic. Let's see what they have to say here.
7 in that run. Legend was number 7. I Am Legend was number 7 in that run. No! And no! I Am Legend opened to over $77 million.
77. Remember the Trump number?
What
the hell are you doing out here, Fred?
Oprah Winfrey repeats him, doubling his voice, twinning his voice. Will Smith, the actor whose wife has alopecia, just like the Darkseekers in I Am Legend who go bald and lose their hair once infected.
In the first 3 days, just in America, right?
Come on, Will
Right.
Smith.
And
Come on, Will Smith.
biggest December opening in the history of movies. And JL calls me. JL never gets excited, and he tells me 77. And I was like, oh man. And we're like, oh, this is we're.
The ritual is complete. Donald Trump, 7 years old, 7 months, 7 days, inaugurated as president.
I'm excited for 30 seconds.
And then he realized he had sold his soul to the devil.
And then my mind drifts. And I say to Jay, hey, why do you think we missed 80?
Wow.
And he said, what? And I said, no, it's like, it was 77. Why do you think if we had adjusted the ending, because I wanted the ending to feel more like Gladiator, but he was like,
Listen carefully.
the biggest opening in history ever. What are you talking about? Hi, Jay, I get that. I'm just asking, why do you think we missed like the 80? And it's the only time he ever hung up on me.
I love that moment.
And
he needed to hang up on you.
Right? And it was like, that's the subtle sickness of material success.
Wow. Mind blown. So Will Smith will be basically doing a sequel with Michael B. Jordan. Let's read this. Massive 2007 post-apocalyptic blockbuster starring Will Smith getting a sequel. And let's see, original film grossed $256 million. Lieutenant Colonel Corona, Robert Neville, is the sole survival in New York City, trying to find a cure after genetically engineered cancer cure either killed or turned 99%. There's your 99 red balloons, which is 66 inverted, into vampiric, cannibalistic mutants called Darkseekers. Plot details for the film are not yet revealed at this time, but the news of Smith's starring turn are interesting, considering that his character valiantly sacrifices himself in order to get the cure safely out of the Darkseeker's reach. Wow. Look at that. This article was dated, let's see, when was this article dated? 2022. And they have the nerve to show the crown of the serpent, the crown of the Shelby Mustang Cobra. Right here on this corner. Now, they're not saying when this is going to break, but they're saying, I believe they've already started filming. Now, I'm actually going to probably read the paperback book from the original I Am Legend because this is so important. So I ordered it. It'll be here, and we're going to watch or either listen or read the book. But I had to jump ahead, and so I wanted to see what the synopsis of this book was. I'll put links to all this for you guys. But here is I Am Legend, the book by Richard Matheson. And it sounds like we got military helicopters flying over. Oh, military helicopters flying over, like a foreshadowing of the DC invasion. What the heck? Let's keep listening. This of the book seems to center around vampire lore rather than the experimental vaccine gone wrong. In other words, the entire movie was rewritten to fit the agenda. But there was one striking realization about the book that did spill over into what's happening right now and what did happen. Because at the end of the book, it says here in the synopsis that Neville, played by Will Smith, gives into the realization that a new race has emerged to be the new dominant species. A new race has emerged to be the new normal. And he realized that he, a remnant of humanity, of old humanity, is now a legend to the new race born of the infection. That's what it says right here. Now, what else stood out about the book is that despite the horrible reviews that it got, there were several movie adaptations, including Omega Man. And of course, I Am Legend, the movie. Let's go down to the adaptation. There were comics done on it. And The Last Man on Earth film. Wow. Now, here's a documentary that I did in 2020, December 12th, interestingly, a few days before the anniversary of I Am Legend. And in this 3-hour documentary, I go back in time and I show you the I Am Legend decode that we did long before the pandemic, in which I told you the serpent was crowned. The corona was crowned based on our movie decode. That's a 3-hour long documentary with vintage footage and decodes from before the pandemic ever started that seemed to point forward to a corona emerging. Now, let me go back to the chat here. Now, I posted a link, or I started posting our links of our daily shows into the group, the Facebook group, and on my old Twitter X account. You guys, we're not even reaching the rest of the truth community anymore with this information. Daily deep diving decodes, exposing things for what they are. This occult ritualism. I love you guys, but we've got to continue to make this channel viable. So if you have X, Twitter X still. So I'm back. We're back live in 2025. What a trip that was. All the connections that we're starting to solve the puzzle about where all this is headed. Eugenics, DNA. It's not a mistake that this mRNA technology has been brought to market and now has pivoted from a pandemic to now curing cancer. That's not an accident. So I'm in the chat. So it's important to tune into all the shows because they all mean something. Even going back to the infancy of this channel, as I just showed you, the rabbits, it's where it was all headed, you guys. Thanks, Love Cat. The rabbit womb, thanks. I think you were the one that said that the rabbits had 2 wombs, so thank you for that. You guys are all part of putting together these puzzle pieces. This is why I try to engage you as much as possible. More than maybe other truth channels do, who just present. I like to get your guys' feedback so we can build upon each other's knowledge. Oh, I got this pesky gnat. Boy, I want to swat him, but I don't want to hit my mic. Do you see now how important this is? Oh, these Christians are asleep. Oh, Trump is great. We're doing IVF. He's militarizing the cities to get rid of the homeless. If you talk to most Christians, they will say, oh, this is good. Oh, he's using AI. AI is good. It's good because Trump's using it. Oh, he's going to cure cancer. And literally all of it is diametrically opposed to God's will. Straight up. Those who try to preserve their life will lose it. Those who lose their life will preserve it. Our treasure is in heaven, not here on this earth. Could God have been talking about a zombie apocalypse? We did some previous shows showing you a couple different prophets who talked about some kind of flesh-eating disease, people eating each other in the last days. I think both Jeremiah and Isaiah were the ones who mentioned these prophecies of events that had not happened yet. But what would cause something like this? The prophecy also says that God's people who believe will be protected from this in terms of not having this happen to them. But it's a series of choices that would likely lead to someone turning into a zombie. Maybe trying to preserve their life, maybe believing a false prophet. I mean, there's all kinds of scenarios, you guys. This is why this work is so important, because we're warning people about what could happen. But unfortunately, 95% of the Christian church is asleep. They have believed the lie. You guys don't believe the lie, or at least most of you don't. I still get every once in a while people defending Trump, saying, why are you picking on him? They completely asleep. But most of you that tune in understand what's really happening here, because we've shown you the evidence. All right, long show today, so I'm going to go ahead and pop off here. I love each and every one of you. Thanks for showing up. I'll put links to everything. Links to the decodes, and in those pinned comments and those decodes that I'm going to link, there will be links to everything that you need as proof that you can look up yourself. Have a great rest of your day, you guys. Much love. Take care.